What's up, everybody? Got up this morning about, 5:15. Put my rods in the truck, headed down the road, met my dad. We hooked up the little pond yacht, and we went down to the club pond and did a little fishing, but don't really have much to show you. Unfortunately, they were not biting today. Dad went yesterday. They caught a handful, one including a 6.5 pounder. I'll show you a picture of it. They did okay yesterday. Caught that one big one. So we went back today, or I went back with him today. We couldn't really seem to do much. He caught, I guess we caught about 10 total. I wasn't pulling my weight. I didn't put but one bass in the boat. And then thought I had another little bass. Turned out to be a crappie. Not real sure what a crappie was doing eating a crankbait. It was twice his size. I guess his eyes were bigger than her stomach. He must have been real hungry. Anyway, I don't really count that one. So I caught one bass and he caught, I guess, 8 or so. Just how it goes sometimes. Wish I had something else to show y'all, but that's it for fishing. Since I didn't get to show you any fish, didn't really catch any worth making a video of, thought I'd do a little something else to throw in the video here so it wasn't so boring, and get my 9mm out and sling a few rounds at my steel target. Remember from the other video, I've got my 10-inch plate hanging there with the little 3-inch bullseye behind it. It's on a hinge, so it flaps when you hit the bullseye. Just got it hung there. You can see how it's just attached. Anyway, I'm gonna hang y'all on the tree and break out the 9mm and pop a couple rounds at it, see how I do. Somehow I doubt I'm gonna hit that bullseye too many times, but we'll see. Well, that wasn't too bad, considering how I hadn't shot that pistol in a while. I don't think I hit the bullseye very many times, but at least I was hitting the plate fairly consistent. Looks like I was shooting a little low in one group, and then just a little to the left in another. But I know I popped the bullseye a couple times. Looks like the plate's doing its job. I see some flattened out lead down there. Looks like that mushroom took a hit. Old pine tree's pretty peppered there. This is a swing set a friend of mine gave me. Pretty beat up and rough. But I'm gonna cut the little short section off and then take the long section down and put it in front of my backdrop and get some chain and hang all my steel targets from the swing set. Figured it'd work perfect, keep me from having to build an A-frame stand to hang them all from. I mean, this is essentially what you would build anyway. It's a little tall, so I may end up going back and cutting some of the legs off to shorten it a little bit so I don't have to buy quite as long of a piece of chain. But then again, I'm 6'2", 6'1", so if I hang my targets to where they're directly in front of my chest or about chest high, that ain't but about a foot and a half of chain. So actually I may leave it where it's at and just let them hang short. Otherwise I will be shooting down at the ground, and I don't want to do that. So actually I think I'll leave it. But I'm going to cut right here. Actually I may not even have to cut. That looks like it just pulls right out, doesn't it? So I'll check that out. I don't really want to waste my time whacking on it with the saw if I don't have to. I'll go get my wrenches and see how that thing comes apart. Short end taken off there, and aside from some fresh paint and fixing that little side brace there, I think that's going to work just fine to hang all my targets from. Now I just got to move it down in front of my backdrop and hang all my steel targets from it. Always be prepared, have the right tools. I didn't really feel like digging out all my wrenches and sockets. This little opening wrench and a pair of lineman's pliers were laying on my table right inside my work shed, so I just grabbed them. It only had 2 bolts, so these worked. Normally you want to get a good wrench and some sockets though if you're going to be taking a lot of bolts in or out of something, putting nuts back on the bolts. A good wrench and a good socket set, fairly cheap to come by, really handy. Like I said, I didn't really feel like digging all that out when all I had was 2 bolts, but you don't have to have a lot of fancy tools to do something, you know. Fairly cheap pair of adjustable wrench there, and a really cheap pair of lineman's pliers that I actually think I got at Kmart, which is going out of business. So all of their tools were like 40% off, so I grabbed me another pair of lineman's pliers so I'd have an extra pair. Anyway, even if you can't afford expensive tools, you can do a lot with just cheap basic tools. It's time to feed the dogs, so thought I'd bring y'all along with me. And they definitely know that I'm coming and bringing food, because she was running up and down the fence line, and this one's standing there wagging her tail waiting on me.